Hey, what's up guys? Today on Iceberg TV, we've got a couple of discs here from Sacred Discs. We have the Gnome Putt and Approach coming in at a 2201, kind of similar to a Harp, A2, Tactic. Doesn't really feel the exact same as any of those discs. It's a little bit blockier. The edge here doesn't quite come in at the same angle as a lot of those approach discs. Kind of just comes straight down. It's a little bit blockier. Not really sure how this is going to fly, to be honest, but feels pretty good in the hand. Then the mid-range that we have for today is the Arrowhead, coming in at a 4301. This is in the Aroma blend. Super duper stiff, like mega stiff. It's like super stiff baseline, extremely low profile. So if you are, you have smaller hands, female players, or someone who just likes an extremely low profile disc, you're going to really enjoy the feel of the Arrowhead. And then we have the Starship, also in the Aroma blend. This Aroma blend is like super stiff. This thing has little to no give to it. It's definitely more on the side of a baseline, but it definitely kind of feels like a premium baseline blend. But it's just so stiff. There's like no give to this thing. The Gnome, in my opinion, the plastic feels the best. This is the Alchemy blend. So Alchemy blend Gnome definitely feels the best just right off the bat. Let's give all these guys a throw. I have no idea how any of these are going to fly. Starship feels like it's going to be super understable, but we'll kind of just start with some like 50 to 60% kind of throws here. Okay, the Gnome is a lot straighter than your typical approach disc, but it has a lot of like drop to it. So it's not going to fade and kind of dump as much, but just sort of wants to fall out of the sky. That flight really reminded me of my Araby Arrow, which is a really unique flight to recreate. Now I'll throw the Arrowhead. Same thing, just like 50 to 60%. That one feels like it's going to be a really nice flyer. Flies very true to the flight numbers. Not much turn at a lower speed, and then had a nice controllable fade at the end. And now we have the Starship here. It's a 13.6 minus 1.2. Based on the profile, I haven't thrown this at all yet, but there's just like no sort of aggressive concave shape under the wing here. It almost has like a Roadrunner kind of vibe, but like 5 speeds faster. This thing is like super wide. All right, let's see how the Starship goes here. Same thing, just 50 to 60% to get us started. Well, even at a low speed, that had a really nice early turn, but then a big fade at the end. I'm actually really excited about the Starship. I thought that thing was just going to go like whoop and just flip over based on the shape, but the flight numbers were true so far to that one as well. Let's go grab them. We'll slowly escalate up in power and see how they fly. Nico Locastro has been in professional disc golf pretty much longer than anybody else at that point, if you consider active players. Nico has been touring forever. He's absolutely dedicated to the sport of disc golf, and he's had a ton of ups and downs over the years. Had some really huge wins in his career, some very massive upsets as well. And it just feels like part of his natural progression to inevitably have his own company where, he's got his own discs, and Sacred Discs is that brand. And obviously he's still representing Lone Star Discs. But again, this progression feels pretty natural, in my opinion. So the Gnome, I would love a Starship in this plastic, the Alchemy blend. This plastic feels really, really great. This thing's absolutely like board flat / concave on top. I actually really like the Gnome, the way that it feels. So you can see, just really wants to dump, get to the ground. It's not as like swingy as an A2. Like an A2 is going to kind of swing and skip, and really, really great for flex lines, but you kind of have to be careful when you throw the A2 that's going to like kind of just really skip on you. That Gnome just wants to like get to the ground and stay relatively flat, which is really cool. Now we'll go with the Arrowhead, and then we'll go with the Starship. But I feel like I have to point out the Aroma blend is infused with sage. And I'll show you guys right here. You can see these little chunkies right here. Those are actually like chunks of sage. Not a bad thing, not a good thing, but definitely a thing. So we'll throw the arrowhead here, 4301. We're gonna juice up on this one a little bit more than last time. Not super glidey, very low profile and comfortable in the hand. Not much turn to speak of, and a nice controlled fade. I'd have to describe that flight like a less glidey buzz. Similar kind of flight, but not that same like buzz style like push. Nobody said it's supposed to fly like a buzz. I'm just giving you guys an explanation that I feel like you'll be able to understand. So flies kind of like a less glidey buzz. Now I'll go with the Starship here. Again, continuing to try and power up a little bit more than last time. Very early turn, but then a very strong fade at the end. I think people are actually gonna really fall in love with the Starship. So far, they're probably exceeding my expectations a little bit. I'm really liking the way all three discs fly, and I feel like all three molds are fairly unique. You don't really see a lot of discs when it comes to approach discs that have more of that square shape. I feel like there was some molds that are kind of like discontinued. You don't really see them much anymore that have that similar shape, but very unique shape on the Gnome. Also very unique shape on the Starship. And then that arrowhead is like so like super low profile, but still doesn't feel like it's gonna slip out of my hands. So far, I'm actually quite impressed with what I've seen from Sacred Discs. All right, guys, apparently my phone overheated, absolutely just stopped filming. So we'll hit the Gnome, the arrowhead, and the Starship a few more times. We'll just try and go like shade to shade, I suppose. So start with the putter, the Gnome. Even like a little bit of Annie, it's still like super stable. That's a really solid approach disc. And now we'll hit the arrowhead, still increasing the power a little bit further. I think my original assessment on the arrowhead is probably correct. It just flies like a less glidey buzz, just because it's so flat and low profile, but it still feels pretty good in the hand. And then we have the Starship here. So if you get over on it, that's a disc that needs height because it wants to turn so early. Like low ceiling kind of shots like this are going to be a lot harder because when you put it like flat through a gap, it's just going to want to kind of turn over. But if you give it a little bit of height, it's going to turn really hard early in the flight, and then it's got a ton of fade at the end. But that's a disc that seems to be designed for maximum distance lines. And I think if you take that into consideration, I think it's perfect for exactly that. All right, usually these lower profile mids can't handle like off-axis torque from forehand shots, so let's give this a go. It's so like torque resistant and stable for such a low profile disc. And the same thing, I thought this thing was gonna be like super flippy, but it really isn't. Just like really early in the flight it is. But I will say my suspicions are right. I haven't done much and it's already pretty dinged up. I would like the premium plastic in this mold just to kind of see how it performs. Let's give this a good forehand. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think absolutely bombs. If you have good control over your angles and you can give it the height that it needs to just use that early turn, give it enough height, it seems like it's always going to fade out in the end. And I think it would probably be even more stable in the Alchemy blend. All right, guys, I'm going to give my final thoughts on everything, and then we'll throw them all one last time. The Gnome, definitely a winner. Very overstable, but still very controllable. And like I said, doesn't have that sweeping, skipping kind of finish. The way it's so blocky, it just wants to like really just fall out of the sky and has plenty of stability for flex shots, hyzer shots, flat shots that finish on hyzer, but it really just wants to like come down. Very low glide, very useful for up shots, good for backhand and for forehand. Arrowhead, surprisingly more torque resistant than I thought. Again, baseline plastic, mega stiff, mega low profile. I'm surprised that it is as stable as it is. And the aroma blend, I mean, if you like the smell of sage, then you're gonna like the way that these smell. Again, another winner. I'm actually really impressed. I think Nico's experience in disc golf is really shining through with these molds, and I'm pleasantly surprised by the way that the first two flew. Now, as far as the Starship, great distance driver, especially I think for players with lower arm speed but still want to throw a 13 speed. If you want to throw a 13 speed but don't have the arm speed for a nuke, this is going to be right up your alley. It's like it wants to turn right away even at lower arm speed, and it's just like super fun to throw, and it's going to be that perfect, you know, you've got a lot of open space and you got some height to work with. You just kind of put it up in the air and just let it go. It's going to want to just fly, fly, fly forever and then have a nice fade at the end. So yeah, super impressed with all three molds. Let's give them one last throw and then we'll be all done for today's video. Gnome, just so reliably stable. Arrowhead, the Arrowhead's probably most likely to make the bag. Like I really love those low glide flex shots because I'm decent with putters, but I'm better with mid-ranges, and that is so easy to throw, and it's a mid-range that's not going to get away from you. It almost bridges the gap from putter to mid-range. And Starship. If you want a driver that's going to turn a lot but still have the integrity to fade, then that's a really great option. Because if you throw something like maybe like a Nuke SS, those are going to kind of, once they get nose down, they just kind of stay nose down. Even when they slow down, they just kind of stay nose down. Once that one loses speed, the nose starts to pick up and it really, truly does want to fade at the end. Again, would like to see how that flies in the Alchemy blend, but even the Aroma blend, it's very stiff. People may not like how stiff it is, but as a flyer, flies absolutely incredibly. Today's video would not be made possible without the help of Disc Golf Deals USA. So if you want to try out any of the Sacred Discs lineup or any other disc over on the site, there's actually a discount code in the link in the description below. And if you're looking for disc golf bags, any other disc golf stuff that you can't find on Disc Golf Deals USA, I have other discount codes down there as well. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching my video today. You're watching Iceberg TV, and take care.